Welcome, Facebook Live viewers. My name is Brad Bodis, and this is our weekly Facebook Live event. Thank you for joining us today. You're going to find that we are doing something a little bit more upbeat today. During the last year, the Bond and Bodis Law Offices, all of you, and these Facebook Live episodes have dealt with some pretty heavy issues: mask wearing, vaccines, social distancing. I think we're starting to see some positive things in the future. And today we are going to talk about something very positive, a sport I love, and that's the sport of bowling. And today we're very fortunate to have my good friend and the general manager of Vestavia Bowl in Vestavia, Alabama, just outside of Birmingham, Angela Nance. Angela, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Angela, I want to talk with our viewers about the sport of bowling. It's a sport that I've been passionate about for, well, I'm 60 years old, so for most of my life. I remember bowling with my dad when I was just very, very young. I remember hearing stories from my dad about when he was young, working as a pin setter back in the days when, the pin setting machines weren't automatic. It's a sport that's been in my family that I've loved, and I know you feel the same way. But to get started here, folks, this is our weekly Bond and Bodis Facebook Live event. The Bond and Bodis law offices are located throughout Alabama, throughout Mississippi. And folks, we help people that are facing tough financial challenges. And we know, and again, I said today's episode is going to be upbeat, but we know a lot of you have had financial challenges over the last year. And mortgage payments are beginning to come due, rent payments, folks are going to have to worry about going forward. And here in the state of Alabama and in Mississippi, those extended unemployment benefits are going to expire soon. So please just know, if you need help, we're here. We're offering absolutely free initial consultations, and we'll do them by phone. We'll do them by a video consultation, so you're safe. We'll do it from your home or office. Please reach out to us if we can help you. And Angela, you know this. I always tell my bowling friends that are listening, yes, I'm a bankruptcy attorney. That's what I do primarily. But if you need help with any legal situation, any question, please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If it's not something I can do, I'll help you find the right attorney. Not only am I a bankruptcy attorney, I'm an old attorney, so I've been doing this a long time, and I know where you can get help if you need it. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Angela, last week's episode, actually it was 2 weeks back, but our last Bond and Bodis Facebook Live episode, we dealt with a pretty heavy issue, and that was small businesses and the impact that COVID's had on the individuals running those businesses, because a lot of individuals have to put up personal guarantees on the business's debt. We had my good friend Derek Johnson with South Point Bank, and I encourage people that have concerns about operating their small businesses and the finances. That episode is available on our Facebook page. It's available on the Bond and Bodis website. All of these Facebook Live events are available. So if you're someone like me and you love bowling and you know somebody else that might want to watch today's show, please tell them about this. They can tune in later and watch what Angela has to say. Angela, it's been a tough year for the bowling industry, hasn't it?
It has been. Yeah, I never thought we would ever have to deal with something like this.
Yeah, and none of us have. The last time it happened, something similar to this happened in our country was 100 years ago, over 100 years ago, back in the, I think, 1919. But you, and I think the sport of bowling, have just done a wonderful job of pulling through this. Angela, for our viewers, I know you and I know about your history with the sport, but why don't you give us just a little bit of background about Angela Nance and your experience with bowling and with Vestavia Bowl?
Okay. Well, my family all have bowled longer than I have. They started bowling when I was probably 12 years old. I started when I was 14. I'll be honest, it wasn't something I wanted to do. It didn't interest me in the moment, but I got set up with the right people who made it fun for me, and just grew into something I loved. We would come every day after school and practice, probably about five of us, and just really enjoyed it. And as soon as I was able to start working, Keith Henderson, he hired me. I was 15 years old, 38 now, so I've been here a very long time. But I just love it. You know, I met my husband here. Of course, when we met, it was way before we ever thought about anything, together. But, it's something that we love. We love the sport. We love the people. I really feel like it's a family here. We have great owners that really look after us in the business. And that's what's kept me here for so long is just, the people, the sport. I've had so many wonderful opportunities with bowling. I've traveled all over the country, competed in many different tournaments at various levels. So it has provided me with many opportunities that I never would have had, and met so many wonderful people through the sport.
Well, and you have been such a wonderful, you've contributed to the sport in such a wonderful way. Let's go ahead and give your husband Ryan a plug. Ryan runs the Pro Shop located in Vestavia Bowl, and he also has a location over at Riverview Bowl. And Ryan and you teach bowling. You help coach youth bowling. In fact, you both worked with the Vestavia High School team. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
And
And we've helped numerous teams as well. But yes, that's one of the big schools here. Yes.
well, I know you've done tremendous work with a lot of youth bowlers at all ages,
Hmm.
and I know Ryan does coaching and teaching with bowlers of all ages, and folks, if you need equipment. Um, this is something, you don't want to just go online and order something. You want to talk to somebody that will look at how you bowl, look at your hand, look at what your needs are, and help you pick the best equipment possible. So,
Hmm.
um, you know, go to a local business. Vestavia Bowl is locally owned and operated. Ryan's Pro Shop, locally owned and operated. Good people. Go to them for help. Let's talk about the sport of bowling in general, Angela. So, yeah, spring of last year, everything changed. But
Hmm.
prior to that time, what was the state of bowling in our country?
I mean, for us, it was booming. We had leagues every night of the week, took up every lane that we had. On the weekends, we would be full with open bowling and group events, parties. Um, so we were definitely at a height in bowling. At least here. I mean, I can only speak for ourselves, but we were in a good place when we got
Yeah,
shut down.
and I've looked the numbers nationally. I know probably the height of bowling was back in the 50s and 60s. I
Hmm.
think when they first came up with the automated pin setters, it changed the sport, and league bowling became very popular. I remember going to the bowling centers with my parents and watching them bowl and the fun they had. And then things tapered off a little bit. I guess just competition with other activities and other sports in the um, uh, 90s. But over the last 10 years ago, bowling has really seen nationally and from what I've seen locally an increase in popularity, and for good reason. It's a fun sport. It's a great sport, parents, for your children to be involved in. The bowling centers that I visit really, especially Vestavia Bowl, but the others also really provide a good atmosphere. There are good people like Angela and her husband Ryan there to help coach your kids. And bowling, I'm proof of it, is a sport you can do all your life. Angela, you see bowlers of all ages at Vestavia Bowl, don't you?
We do. I mean, we have youth bowlers. My nephew started this year, 3 years old. And then we have senior citizens that, I mean, in their 90s, so all ages for sure.
Well, yeah, it's wonderful to see both the very young bowlers who can enjoy the sport more than, when I was a youngster. Every time I pushed the ball down the lane, it seemed like it went into the gutter. But not today. There's all kinds of things you can do, bumpers and things that very young kids can enjoy the sport
Hmm.
of bowling. And then to see the older people, folks much older than me out there bowling. Um, I'll never forget, Angela, I bowl with Dr. Larry Gazzini, who's been
Hmm.
a guest on this Facebook Live. And several years ago, he just had a great night, bowled a 240 something, and he was beat by, I'm drawing a blank, Valerie Jeffrey's mother, who passed away a few years back.
Oh, Annie.
Yeah,
Annie.
Annie, and
Yeah.
Annie was
Hmm.
well up into her 70s and whipped up on Larry, and Larry still talks about that today. But it's wonderful to see people of all ages, all ethnic groups, men and women. Bowling really is a wonderful place as far as the mix of people. All right, so things are good. You're busy, and then the spring of 2020 happens. Tell us about your experience, Angela. What happened with bowling at that point?
Well, fortunately, we did have a lot of leagues going on at that time, and the majority of them decided, hey, let's just wait it out and see what is going to happen. Because obviously, nobody knew what was going to happen.
Right.
So while we were shut down, we just tried to make the best of it. We tried to do a few improvements that we ourselves could do without hiring out any outside help. We kept our employees working on the payroll. We, used all of the government assistance that was provided to us to allow the employees to keep working. And then once we were able to reopen, like I said, the majority of the leagues came back. Of course, we had to modify how leagues were to bowl because of social distancing, and all of the leagues that we had, they wouldn't all fit at their normal day and time. But fortunately, everyone was willing to just do what needed to be done. Everybody missed bowling, sitting at home for 2 months, not able to interact with anybody. So when they came back, we just made best with what we could, and got everybody bowling again. It took a little while before we resumed open bowling, just as we wanted to make sure that, we felt comfortable, bowlers felt comfortable. Of course, we wanted to get the league season finished, even though it was going through the summertime, which was not normal.
Right.
But we just wanted to do one step at a time instead of going full force into something that nobody was really very comfortable with at the moment. But we needed to just do whatever we needed to do to kind of resume a semi-normal life at that point.
And it was difficult on your end. It was a change for bowlers, maintaining distance, wearing masks. There was a lot of nervousness,
Hmm.
um, but from what I've observed, bowling, as you said, people missed the sport. People
Hmm.
were anxious to get back. And, I think people were understanding of the challenges. And we're now seeing the bowling centers fill back up again,
Hmm.
which is just wonderful. I'm hoping that we'll see that resurgence that we saw pre-pandemic continue, and people to
Hmm.
continue to get involved. So, what would you say, Angela, surprised you the most? What happened during the pandemic, as an advocate of bowling, as a bowling center proprietor? What was it that surprised you over the last year?
Well, I would say I'm surprised, but I'm not really surprised. Just how wonderful our league bowlers were throughout this whole process. Sticking it out with us instead of saying, look, let's just end. Because that was, a few months of leagues that that we normally would have had each year had they stopped. I mean, that would have hurt tremendously on the business. But the fact that, they said, no, let's stick with it and just continue whenever we can. I would say that was probably the biggest thing. I mean, and the biggest help to us was just the fact that, our league bowlers were just so supportive of our business and doing whatever to help keep us going as well. So I would say I'm
Well,
surprised, but then I'm not. They're family.
it is it's a fraternity, it's a family. It's
Mhm.
one thing I love about bowling is getting together with a group of people, and like I say, folks from all over. When I bowl on Wednesday night, I'm bowling with a dentist, I'm bowling with a doctor, I'm bowling with people that are in the trades. There's all different types of people. And on Wednesday night at the bowling alley, we're just one big family and we have a lot of fun together.
That's right.
Pick on each other, support one another, learn from one another. So, where are we now with league bowling? Are things back to normal? Are things close to normal? Where are we right now?
So when KIV said that we no longer had to do social distancing and all of that, it was only about a month prior to all of our leagues coming to an end. So we decided it was best. Let's just finish out our league seasons, how we did it all year, social distancing, one team per pair, and then that way would give us time to let people know what our plans are going forward. So with our summer leagues, we are going back to two teams per pair of lanes. With open bowling, we're going back just normal as far as reservations and parties. Everything's going forward as pre-pandemic. But with leagues, we did want to give that time, like, let's just finish how we are. We're so close to the end, but know that summertime comes around, we're going to have some normal life around here again.
And I know bowlers are really enthused about that.
Yes.
League bowling has been different with keeping a lane between each other, and just it'll be good to get back to normal.
Yes.
I remember from my perspective as a league bowler, things shut down. If you'll remember, it was the week before my law firm does its annual tournament at Vestavia Bowl, the Bond and Bodas Team Challenge, and we went from preparing for that tournament to not bowling at all, and not bowling at all for a period of time.
Hmm.
This year, you were able to put that tournament back together again. People came from all over, really from all over the state of Alabama, and,
Hmm.
and participated. Everybody had fun. It went very well. So many good activities. Angela, I know years ago, bowling proprietors depended on league bowling for the bulk of their income. Is that still the case today, or do you see a lot of other type activity in the bowling centers?
So for us, and of course I can't speak for all bowling centers, but here I feel like it's probably 50-50. During the week, it's league bowling. On the weekends, it's open bowlings, events, parties, things like that. So what we try to do is just be focused on what is happening in the moment. So weeknights, we are fully geared towards league bowling. On the weekends, we're fully geared towards events and parties and things like that. So both are very crucial to keep the business going. But I would say we're probably half and half.
So let's talk about that. Parties at the bowling center. A
Hmm.
lot of people that are not bowlers don't naturally think of that. But tell me what a facility like Vestavia Bowl can do if a group of people want to get together and have a party at the bowling center. What's that involve?
So with our reservations, they're typically all 2 hours of bowling. We include the shoes for up to six people on a lane. Anytime we have lanes available, we will reserve for you in advance. We also have six lanes that are separate. So it's a private area that we have a lot of companies that like to book. I think especially now with um, people wanting to still be spaced out a little bit, I think that's still going to be a great option for those that might want to have family events, team parties, but not want to be with a large group of people. We do have that option available as well. We haven't started back our birthday packages per se, but we still have where, you know, we can make a reservation. They can bring in a birthday cake. We can upgrade it, you know, but we don't have party coordinators right now to do that. But we're slowly getting back to where we were before.
And folks, what a wonderful place to have a party. The bowling center at Vestavia and most bowling centers, there's a meeting room available. There's a bar. There's food. There's flashing lights. There's a great sound system. It's really a fun environment to have a business get together, a birthday party, from birthday party for young kids, all ages. It's a fun event. It's a fun place to celebrate and get people together in an atmosphere that they're not used to and where they might have a little more fun with one another. So we're beginning summer leagues now, and then the summer league is a shorter period, and then in the fall, the regular leagues will start up. If somebody is interested in getting involved in league bowling, how do they do so, Angela? What's the best way to get started?
So the best thing to do is to just get in contact with the league coordinator of whichever bowling center that you're interested in joining. Typically, like you said, leagues are going to start up the end of May, beginning of June. They'll go for probably 10 to 12 weeks, and then the regular league season will start typically around Labor Day, maybe a little before or a little after. But if it is something that you are interested in doing, just contact your league coordinator as quickly as possible. Then that way they'll know to try to start looking to find you a team if you don't already have one, or go ahead and get you on the list in case the league fills up to make sure that you have a spot.
And the league coordinator at Vestavia Bowl, would that be
Melanie.
Melanie
Yeah,
Keener?
Melanie
Okay.
Keener. Yes.
Okay. And to get her, people can just call the main phone number at Vestavia Bowl or go to the website
Yes.
and express interest. So, do I need to be a good bowler to participate in
No.
a league?
No, not at all. No, any level. We have leagues that are geared towards certain groups. We have women's leagues in the morning, senior leagues in the morning, mixed leagues, fun leagues, youth leagues, beginners, competitive. So we have a wide range. So when you express your interest, just, you know, let them know what day of the weeks you're available, what you're looking for. But yes, you could have never bowled before. You don't even have to have your own equipment. We can get you there eventually, but as long as you want to do it, we can get you a spot to bowl.
Explain, and I know because I've done it for a long time, but in most leagues, there is a handicap system. It allows a not so good bowler like me to compete with some of the much better bowlers. Don't get too deep in the weeds here, but explain generally how that handicap system works, Angela.
So let's just say, to make it easy, we'll use 100% handicap based. So if the handicap was based off of an average of 200, and I average 160 and you average
She averages
180.
more than 160,
Yeah,
folks.
well,
So,
just for
yeah.
example. So if you averaged 180, we would take 200 minus 180, and you would get 20 pins added to every single game that you bowl. If I averaged 160, I would get 40 pins added to every game that I bowl. But let's say we have Ryan who averages 200, he would get 0 added to whatever he bowls. So it helps equalize everybody out. So that way the 160 bowler does not have a disadvantage towards the 200 average bowler.
Right.
But again, we would, you know, try to make sure you're within the league that works best for you. We don't want anybody to feel intimidated, because even though we do have handicaps, you know, you don't want to put a beginner bowler in a competitive league just for the intimidation factor, because handicap sometimes is a little tricky to understand, even for those that have been bowling for a long time.
But if you're a new bowler, I
Mm-hmm.
encourage you that the handicap a lot of the better bowlers like having a low average bowler on their team because that
Hmm.
higher handicap can make a big difference. So it's a great way to get involved, a great way to learn. As your average increases, as you do better, your handicap's going to go down, and you'll learn to love the sport, and you'll meet a great group of people. Um, let's talk about the future of bowling and youth bowling. I know when I was very young, my parents would bring me to the bowling center on Saturday morning, and there were people like you there. There were coaches to help us learn how to bowl and keep an eye on us. Um, Saturday morning is still a pretty popular time for youth bowling, isn't it?
It is. Yes, we have typically we have about 80 to 100 kids that bowl in our youth program on Saturday mornings. We have probably 8 to 10 volunteer coaches that are here. Now during the summertime, this is more or less just for them to just keep bowling. So many of the kids bowl on their school teams. So we wanted to make sure that they didn't just quit bowling for the summertime. So we don't really have coaching in the summer. So many of our coaches are tournament bowlers, so they're traveling and so forth. But when our main league season does start back, we have, like I said, about 8 to 10 coaches. Ryan gives every youth bowler that we have 2 free one-on-one lessons to come outside of their normal time. But yeah, we have a really great youth program. And with high school bowling and middle school bowling picking up tremendously in our state, it has brought so many more youth bowlers who want to learn and get better and help their team achieve championships, especially those teams that have gotten close or have um, been champions themselves. The underclassmen want to be able to continue that tradition. So it's been great seeing the kids coming in and wanting to bowl league, wanting to get the extra lessons, coming to practice, and just try to get better. So.
What is the youngest age? What age do people start getting their kids involved in bowling with youth bowling, Angela?
So our bumper division, typically they bowl 2 games a week. And Everett, my nephew, like I said, he started this year at 3 years old. Sometimes he could only get through one game, which was fine. But it's just for fun, just getting him out here and learning the sport. Now, as far as transferring from bumpers to non-bumpers, we kind of let that be up to the parent and the child. But we say maybe around age 6, 7 or so. But if the child just is not quite ready for that, it's okay. We just want kids bowling and having fun and on their pace. When they feel it's time to move up to learn without bumpers, we just let that happen whenever they feel comfortable. But typically it's around probably 6, 7 years old or so.
Yeah, he's going to be a bowler. He'll be beating me in 10 years, I'm sure, or maybe sooner than that. So then, middle school bowling.
Mhm.
Do a lot of the middle schools now have competitive teams here in Alabama?
Yeah, so we have 4 middle schools that use our bowling center as their home center, but I believe there's probably just in our metro area, probably eight or nine middle schools that have bowling teams. So,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah,
And
it's
then
it's
even
great.
more so when you get to high school,
Yes, yes.
which has been great to see. Now, has that always been the case in the state of Alabama, or is that a recent thing that high school bowling has become more popular?
It's definitely new. So I believe probably 5 or 6 years ago is when the AHSAA made high school bowling a sport, which myself, Tommy Barberini at Oak Mountain Lanes, we worked together with them to help get high school bowling going. And the first year there were so many kids with house balls, house shoes. They just wanted to just be a part of a team. They've never been a part of a team before, but now you see the kids are taking it much more seriously. The coaches are taking it seriously. And it has grown tremendously. Like I said, we have 4 middle school teams that use us as their home center. We have about 10 high school teams that use us. So when the high school season or when the bowling season begins, October to January after school on a Monday through Thursday, we are packed out with kids here on their bowling teams, and that's probably every bowling center in the area. That's how much it's grown, and all schools can participate.
That's awesome. And Angela, I know you're being a little bit modest here, but I know you and your husband Ryan have had a whole lot to do with the growth of high school bowling in our community. And parents, again, bowling is a sport. You get your kids involved in it when they're young, they can do it all their life.
Hmm.
We've all seen that high school football player take the helmet off for the last time. They're never going to play football again the rest of their lives. Most of us aren't going to play basketball for an extended period of time. Sports like that. But bowling is a sport you can and you will do all your life. It's a great activity to get your kids involved in. And, I know a lot of you probably have a stereotypical view of what a bowling center might be, what the atmosphere might be for your kids. Get out and visit. Get out on a Saturday morning and visit Vestavia Bowl or one of the other local bowling centers. You'll find a very wholesome environment. Bowling centers, yeah, Angela, I remember 10, 12 years ago, I'd go bowling and come back, and my wife would make me take my clothes off in the garage because I reeked from cigarette smoke. Maybe longer. How long ago was it that most bowling centers eliminated smoking now?
I don't know. I feel like time just kind of runs together, but I want to say it's probably been about 20 years.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I remember when that happened, I said, oh, it's going to be a real challenge. Bowlers just lot of smokers there were in the
Hmm.
bowling centers, and I thought it would be a challenge, but it really hasn't been. People no longer smoke in the bowling centers. The lounges are in a separate area from where the bowlers are. There's food service, and there are people like Angela around to help watch your kids and coach your kids and make sure they're doing the right things. So I encourage you, if you've got young kids, if you've got people that want to get involved in something that they can carry with them the rest of their lives, get them to a bowling center.
Hmm.
Angela, I want to take a little bit of break here and talk about where we are and what we're doing, and then we're going to get into some more detailed questions about bowling. Folks, my name's Brad Bodis. I'm with the Bound and Bodis Law Offices. We are located throughout Alabama. We're in Mississippi, and we help people with money problems. We've been doing so for over 30 years. We've filed collectively thousands and thousands of bankruptcies for individuals and families that have run into challenges financially. We know a lot of you are having financial challenges right now, and we know the foreclosure moratoriums and the eviction moratoriums are starting to end. We know the extended unemployment benefits are coming to a halt. Folks, if you need help, don't stick your head in the sand. Reach out for help. We are offering absolutely free initial consultations. We'll do them by phone or video. We'll do them from the comfort and safety of your home, your office. Been doing this for over 30 years, folks, and this is the first time ever in my career you can file a bankruptcy from start to finish from home, because even the bankruptcy courts are doing hearings online right now. Reach out for help if you need it. Our consultations are free. We'll just talk about where you are, what your options are, and help you get to a better place. Dealing with financial problems, with money problems is tough. Reach out for help. We'll be glad to help you. And to my bowling friends that happen to be watching, you need help with any legal problem, please ask me about it. People come up to me in the bowling center, Angela, and they apologize before asking a question, but no need to apologize. I want to help you if I can. So Angela Nance is the general manager at Vestavia Bowl in Birmingham, Alabama. Her husband, Ryan Nance, runs Ryan's Pro Shop, which is located in Vestavia Bowl. There's also a location in Riverview Bowl in the Birmingham area. And Ryan not only can help you get a bowling ball, help you get it drilled properly, get shoes, merchandise. Ryan also does some graphic work also, T-shirts, jerseys, those type things. Wide variety of things he can help you with. And it's a locally owned and operated business, folks. So reach out to Ryan if he can help you. Reach out to Angela if you're interested in getting involved in bowling, or go to, if you're not in the Birmingham area, go to your local bowling center, get involved. It's a wonderful sport, and I encourage you to get involved with this. Angela, we're starting to have some questions come in from some of our viewers, and I want to give you a chance to answer them, and then I'm also going to mix in some questions here. So the first question I have here is, and I think you've already answered this, but what are the different age groups generally for bowling? If somebody wants to get into a league, what should they look for as far as picking a proper league?
So what I would recommend as far as that goes is just to talk to the league coordinator, let them know what you are interested in, because we know who's in every league that we offer. We know their age groups, we know, their personalities and all of that. And we can kind of help gear you into the right direction, versus just picking one without any idea whatsoever. But let them know what you're interested in. If you're just looking for a fun league to come drink some beer and hang out with some guys, we know what leagues to kind of gear you towards, or if you're looking for something for you and your spouse that's a little more low key, we know what league to direct you towards. So that's what I would recommend, is just the conversation of, what kind of level you're at and what you're interested in, and we can kind of gear you towards the right direction. But any age is really, like we said earlier, we have youth bowlers starting at age 3 up to 18, league bowling, adult leagues 18 to 90 plus. So
And
so
I
we
know
definitely
there
have
are,
something for everybody.
yeah, I know there are senior leagues. I know that, as you mentioned earlier, women's leagues, and you know, all different times of the day, these
Mhm.
leagues are active. So, yeah, I'll give an example. Angela, the team I bowled on Wednesday night, we recently lost a guy that had bowled on our team for a long time, and your league coordinator, Melanie Keener, um, uh, introduced us to a gentleman that had just moved into the area that was interested in getting involved, and she thought we would be a good fit. Arranged for us to meet with Ron at the bowling center before league bowling started, and we decided to be a great fit, and he has been.
Mhm.
So, yeah, contact your bowling center, ask for help. There's all kinds of people. League coordinator, the guy in the pro shop, the general manager. There's all kinds of help at the bowling center to find the right team. Um, how much does it cost if I want to participate in league bowling?
So each league, it varies based on prize fund, basically. So if you have a league that is just for fun, they might range $15 to $18 per week. If you have a league that's more competitive, interested in having a little extra prize fund, it's probably going to be $22 to $25 per week. It all varies. Our youth league ranges, typically it's about $200 for a season. That way you don't have to pay weekly. But it just varies based on what you are interested in. So I would say it could range from probably $15 a week to $25 a week for adult leagues.
And for non-bowlers, a league is usually going to be 3 games. You're going to be at the bowling center for a couple of hours. There's going to be camaraderie. There's going to be a lot of fun surrounding the bowling. But 15 to 20 or even a little bit more per week. I can tell you there are activities where you can spend a whole lot more money and not have near the fun that you'll have at your local bowling center. So, Angela, years ago when I bowled, I got my one bowling ball and I stuffed my bowling shoes in that bag and I showed up at the bowling center. I get there today and I see people showing up with two, three, four, sometimes six bowling balls. Why is that? Why has that change occurred in bowling over the last several decades?
So I'm not a golfer, but I'll use Ryan's analogy. So bowling is a lot like golf. So if you were to go play golf, you would not take out your driver to play your whole 18 holes. You wouldn't putt with your driver, so forth. So bowling is the same way. You have different lane conditions that you'll encounter. Sometimes it'll be oily, so you need a ball that hooks a little more. Sometimes the lanes will be hooking a lot, and this is only for the people that have reactive bowling balls. If you have a ball that goes straight, it's just going to do what it's going to do. But if you have balls that are meant to do different things, you need to be able to use them in the scenario that it's required. So that's why you see a lot of that now. They have them for different conditions that they'll encounter. When you bowl at different bowling centers, you'll have different conditions that you encounter. When the weather changes, the conditions change. There's so many little factors that that you don't think of because you can't see it. You can't see the oil on the lane. So a lot of times, especially the beginner bowler, wouldn't quite understand what's going on. But before every league, you do oil the lanes. The lane condition kind of lets you know what ball you're going to want to pull out of your bag. If you see that your ball is hooking too much, then you want to grab another ball that might hook a little bit less. That way you're not having to move your feet all over the lanes. But yeah, each ball that you have should do something different. I wouldn't recommend having 5 balls in your bag that do the exact same thing. I would recommend, if you're going to have multiple bowling balls, to have them do something a little different. So if you encounter something that's not normal to what you're used to, then you have something to go to. But it's definitely not required to have that many bowling balls. I would suggest at least 3. 3 is probably good.
So I want to, and I don't want to get again too deep in the woods. I know we have a lot of people that just are interested in getting involved in bowling, but we also have some people that have been bowling for quite a while. Um, when I tell people, well, I need different bowling balls because of different oil patterns, they kind of roll their eyes at me if they're not bowlers. Explain, when I say different oil patterns, or you say different oil patterns, explain what that means, if you can, in more simple terms for people. Why am I concerned about the oil pattern on a lane?
So, and that's a tricky one. So again, I would probably refer to golf because a lot of people are golfers. So I would refer to it as how they cut the grass. If the grass is a little longer, it might be a little harder for my ball to roll, or so forth. Same thing if you have a little extra oil on the lanes, your ball's not going to hook as much if you have a little more oil on the lanes. But I try to not look so much, because there's graphs that you can look at that show how the oil is laid on the lanes. But for me, that's not something I try to really pay too much attention to. I try to just grab my ball in a place that I feel comfortable, and if it just seems like it's not working, then adjust from there. But every bowling center, they put out different oil patterns. So it's like going to a different golf course. You're going to play different golf courses differently because they're just not the same. So same thing with bowling. It's not going to be the same place to place. It's not going to be the same when the weather changes. So it's always good to have at least 1 ball, maybe 2 in your bag that okay, if I encounter something, you still have your favorite ball, but if you encounter something that you might want it to hook a little more, you have something to go to. I
Yeah.
hope that makes sense.
I think it does. It does to me, and I hope it does to our viewers. What I want our viewers to know is there are a lot of intricacies in the sport of bowling. It's, you go once or twice and you think you just get a house ball and you just try to throw it down that straight lane and hit one of as many of those 10 pins as you can. But there are a lot of intricacies: weather conditions, humidity within the bowling center, the oil patterns that have been laid out, and they're going to change from bowling center to bowling center, and even within the same center. I had the tremendous experience, Angela, a couple years back. You and Ryan encouraged me. I went out and bowled in the National Bowling Tournament in Las Vegas. And those lanes, they had some very, very difficult bowling patterns, and it's humbling. Um, People go out there for the first time and they're very good bowlers and can barely keep the ball on the lane.
Yes.
So it's and if you are a league bowler and you've never done something like that, I'm bowling in the state bowling tournament up in Huntsville this weekend. I've been able to bowl in that national tournament. I plan to do it again. I won't win any prizes, and it is humbling, but it's a wonderful experience.
Hmm.
Again, with some great people. Angela, if somebody is interested in learning more about bowling, again, let's zero in on Vestavia Bowl right now, which is located just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. Um, First thing they should do to get involved in a league, I think you said earlier, is to talk to your league coordinator, Melanie Keener, and she can be reached by dialing the main number or going to the Vestavia Bowl website. And she'll get help. That person will get help being placed upon an appropriate team. But then, if they want to learn the bowl and get better, what's the next step in developing their game?
So I would recommend coming to see Ryan in Ryan's Pro Shop. He has all the coaching tools that anyone could need down there, from beginners to that have never bowled before to even those that have bowled for a long time that just need help, advancing their game just a little bit. But he's very good at what he does. He is a silver certified USBC coach, as well as just has many years and experience under his belt. But he's really good with all ages. He coaches young children to senior citizens, men, women, all ages, all body styles. It doesn't matter. He can definitely help get you to where you need to be. So, sometimes people think I'm not good enough to get a lesson. Well, no, you want to get a lesson first before you start getting into some habits that might be harder to break down the road. So if you think, hey, this is something I might want to do, even if it's just a lesson or two, get one, bowl for a few weeks, get another one, bowl for a few more weeks, and go from there. But it's not something you have to come every day of the week and get a lesson. We actually don't encourage that. We encourage get a lesson, practice a lot, try to get that mastered, maybe get another lesson or two, and just kind of go from there. But yeah, he can definitely get you taken care of.
Now, I know a couple of years back, y'all installed a system down on the last, I think, 4 lanes at the bowling center that helps Ryan with his coaching. Tell us about that a little bit, what the system, what it is and what it does.
Okay, so it's called Kegel Specto, Specto, and it's on the last 6 lanes. So lanes 29 to 34. Anytime you come in and practice, you're able to download the app on your phone and you select that you are here at Vestavia Bowl. You select what lane number you're on, and you're able to see your ball go down the lane. It's not a video camera, but it tracks ball movement on the lane. So you yourself can come practice and see, am I accurate? Am I not accurate? What do I need to work on? And when he's doing lessons, he's able to show people, because a lot of times you think you're doing one thing and you're really doing something completely different. And it allows you to visually see what is actually happening. It lets you see how your ball rolls down the lane. It lets you see how your ball drives through the pins. It also has where you can come and practice and do different levels of training drills, spare shooting, for example. It lets you compete against people all over the world. I think Ryan just did one. It was a 10-pin thing where he got 32 10-pins in a row and he's ranked like 5th in the world at the moment or something. I
Wow.
don't know how many people do it, but it's a good training tool, and it's something that's here. It's for free. If you want to come practice, you don't have to pay extra to be able to log into that on your phone. And we did it to allow people the opportunity to improve their game, so they can do it on their own or they can get a lesson and dive in a little deeper.
So I'm not only talking to beginning bowlers here, we're talking to league bowlers, we're talking to very experienced bowlers. You can
Hmm.
always get better. And
Yes.
I can tell you that Ryan Nance, and don't tell him I said this, Angela, but he's a great guy. He's one of these guys. He's not only a great bowler, he's a scratch golfer. He got into hockey, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
I think it's 3 years now.
3 years
Yes.
ago, and he's already playing competitively.
Hmm.
In addition to just being a natural athlete and a great bowler. And again, don't tell him I said this, but he's a good guy. He'll really, he's a personal guy. He'll really show interest in you and your game. And what Angela said is right. Get training, get lessons early. You don't want to develop bad habits. I'm a perfect example of that. You
I
don't,
am too.
I don't know
I
about
have
that.
my habits. No, we did last week. We had Parker Bone, who's a USBC Hall of Famer. He came down to do some stuff with our youth bowlers, and so he did a lesson with me, and there were things I just couldn't because my muscle memory is so set in place. I mean, I struggled trying to get a couple things fixed, but I mean, all of us have things that we can do better. I mean, nobody's perfect.
Angela, funny story. I may have told it before, and some of our league bowling friends will appreciate this, but I had hip replacement surgery a number of years back, and I was determined. I couldn't bowl for a couple of months. I got back, and I was determined to get my form, improve, start bowling properly. So I didn't know Ryan well enough at that time. I got my friend Cope Graves, so he's gone now, but we all loved. And I got Cope to come out and
Hmm.
try to help me. And he tried for a while, and finally we just gave up and said, I'm too old to change. But maybe I need to get up there and get some lessons from Ryan. But it doesn't matter, folks. It's bowling is a sport, unless you're going to get real competitive, it's just a sport to have fun. We have handicaps, all different levels of bowlers, all different types of people bowling. Great community, great camaraderie. Get your kids involved in it. Angela, the best way to contact you, if somebody's interested in getting more involved in bowling, perhaps getting their kid involved in bowling, getting involved in one of the school bowling programs, what's the best way to contact Angela Nance?
So I would say just give us a call or give me a call at the bowling center, 205-979-4420. Or you can send me an email, which is anance, ANANCE, at vestaviabowl.com.
Okay, great. Or ask me, and I'll tell you how to get in touch with her, because Angela's a great friend and just is a tremendous asset for our community. Has been for a long time. You mentioned our friend Keith Henderson beforehand, who was the general manager before you, and I think was a little bit of a mentor to you. There have been so many people at Vestavia Bowl that have just made it a great family owned and operated business, a great place to get your kids involved, great place to just spend time and socialize with other people. I don't want to slight the other bowling centers. We have some other great bowling centers in the Birmingham area. I bowl in a league at Riverview every week, in addition to bowling in a league at Vestavia. Oak Mountain Lanes, you mentioned earlier, is a great facility. There are a number of great bowling centers in the Birmingham, Alabama area, throughout the state of Alabama, and throughout Mississippi. So, to our listeners out there, bowling's a wonderful sport. It's been around for years. It's probably something you may remember doing with your parents. If you haven't bowled recently, get out and try it. I think you'll enjoy it. Angela, it's great to see this sport growing as it has. I hope now, as we're emerging from this pandemic, bowling will continue to become more and more popular. And I know the work done by you and your husband Ryan will make that a reality. Angela, I always try to give my guests an opportunity. I'm sure I've missed something. I give my guests an opportunity to say something. Is there anything that you think people need to know about bowling or bowling in the Birmingham area? Any of these topics that I may have missed that you'd like to emphasize for folks?
Um, I mean, I feel like we covered a lot of everything. Just know, that we are always here for you guys, no matter, if it is a league bowler with a question on anything, if anybody's wanting to get better, if you're wanting to come have a party, if you're wanting, whatever, we're here for you guys. We're very hands-on. You'll see the same people here all the time. Um, Most of our employees have been here probably 10 plus years. So we know you guys, we want to help you guys. If there's ever anything that we can do, if you ever have any questions, concerns, anything, we're always available. So we just, I appreciate you, Brad. You do so much for the sport of bowling here at the bowling center and for the city of Birmingham. So thank you for being such an asset to our sport as well.
Well, thank you, Angela. That means a lot to me. The Bond and Botus law offices have sponsored leagues and tournaments for many years, and we love bowlers. We love being involved with bowlers. And we want bowlers and other people that may be listening just to know that we're here to help you if you need it. Again, we know these are tough times. We've tried to be a little bit more uplifting with today's show and talk about something fun, something positive, and that's what the sport of bowling is, and that's what my friends at Vestavia Bowl and really in the bowling community represent. So folks, hope this has been enjoyable for you. Angela, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
If you're interested in getting bowling, Angela Nance is the person to talk to. If you need legal help, we are offering absolutely free initial consultations here at the Bond and Botus Law Offices. Just reach out to us. But on behalf of Angela, on behalf of myself, and all of us at Vestavia Bowl, at the Bond and Botus Law Offices, God bless you. Good luck. And we'll be here again next week. Thank you, Angela.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.